The Lion and the Mouse. Deep in the African savanna, where the golden grass stretched as far as the eye could see, lived the most powerful lion anyone had ever known. His name was Kion, and he ruled over his territory with strength and pride. Every morning, he would climb up to his favorite spot on a sun-warmed rock to survey his kingdom. One particularly hot afternoon, while Kion was taking his daily nap under the shade of an ancient acacia tree, something tickled his nose. His eyes flew open, and there, to his great surprise, was a tiny gray mouse running across his massive paw. With one swift movement, Kion's huge paw came down, trapping the little mouse. The tiny creature trembled as it looked up at the lion's fierce face and sharp teeth. "Please, mighty king," squeaked the mouse, who was called Pip. "I'm so sorry for disturbing your sleep. I promise if you let me go, I'll find a way to help you someday." Kion couldn't help but laugh at the idea of such a tiny creature helping him, the king of the savanna. The very thought was ridiculous. But something about the mouse's brave words and earnest face touched his heart. "You? Help me?" Kion rumbled, his deep voice still carrying traces of amusement. "And how would you do that, little one?" "You never know," Pip replied, standing as tall as his tiny frame would allow. "Even the smallest of us can make a big difference." Kion looked at the tiny mouse for a long moment, then slowly lifted his paw. "Very well, little one. You may go, but be careful where you scurry in the future." Pip didn't need to be told twice. With a grateful bow, he disappeared into the grass, leaving Kion shaking his head at his own softness. Days passed, and life in the savanna continued as usual. Kion had almost forgotten about his encounter with the little mouse. But one night, something unusual happened. Strange new sounds echoed across the grasslands, human voices, the crunch of heavy boots, and the rattle of metal. Hunters had come to the savanna. They worked in the darkness before dawn, setting up their traps and nets between the trees. They knew the path that the mighty lion took each morning to reach his favorite drinking spot. The next morning, just as the hunters had planned, Kion walked right into their trap. With a mighty whoosh, a heavy net fell from the trees, entangling the powerful lion. The more he struggled, the tighter the ropes became. His mighty roars echoed across the savanna. But none of the other animals dared to come near, none except a tiny gray mouse who heard the commotion. Pip recognized the lion's voice immediately. Without hesitation, he raced toward the sounds of distress. When he arrived, he found his former captor completely trapped, with the hunters approaching in the distance. "Hold still, mighty king," Pip squeaked, scampering up to the net. "I told you I would help you someday, and today is that day." With his sharp teeth, Pip began gnawing through the thick ropes. He worked quickly and steadily, moving from one section to another. Kion lay still, hardly daring to breathe as he watched the tiny creature work to free him. Time was running out. The hunters were getting closer, their heavy boots crushing the grass beneath their feet. Pip's tiny teeth were getting tired, but he didn't stop. He couldn't stop, not when his friend needed him. "Just a few more ropes," Pip whispered encouragingly, his little heart pounding with effort. "Almost there, mighty king." Finally, with one last bite through a crucial rope, the net loosened enough for Kion to break free. The mighty lion burst from his bonds with a tremendous roar that shook the very ground. The hunters, seeing the freed lion, dropped their weapons and ran away as fast as their legs could carry them. When the danger had passed, Kion turned to the tiny mouse who had saved his life. His eyes, usually so fierce, were now soft with gratitude. "You were right, little friend," Kion said gently. "Even the smallest creature can indeed make the biggest difference. I was wrong to laugh at your promise. You are as brave as any lion." Pip stood tall and proud, though his whiskers twitched with modesty. "I only did what any friend would do," he replied. "Besides, you showed me kindness when you could have easily hurt me. One good turn deserves another." From that day forward, Kion and Pip became the best of friends. The story of their friendship spread across the savanna, told by the zebras to the giraffes, by the giraffes to the elephants, and by the elephants to all who would listen. It became a favorite tale among the animals, teaching everyone that kindness, no matter how small, is never wasted, and that true friendship knows no size. And so every evening, as the sun set over the savanna, turning the sky into a canvas of orange and purple, you could find an unlikely pair watching it together. A tiny mouse perched on the mane of a mighty lion. Two friends who had learned that the measure of one's worth lies not in their size, but in the size of their heart. The end.